what's up, everybody? Welcome to Indie Comics Review. Every week, I review 4 books, well, sometimes 3 books, from recent weeks. And it's kind of like an afterwards, that we've all had time to read the books. And I express my opinions about those books. And hopefully in the comments, maybe you express your opinions, whether you agree or disagree with me. And this is the kind of content that you find interesting or entertaining, then please hit the like and subscribe button. So let's get started right away with this week's books. First book of the week is Dark Blood. This is from Boom Studios. This is written by Latoya Morgan and art by Walt Brana. Dark Blood opens in 1955 Alabama with a black man named Avery Aldrich. He's leaving a diner, and it's not clear if he works there or if he's just a regular customer. Avery doesn't get far before he notices that he's being followed. As he turns down an alley, he's confronted by the person, a white man, in a long coat wearing a fedora. The man speaks to him in a threatening, disrespectful manner and seems to have a problem with the way that Avery addressed him in the back of the diner, or back at the diner, I should say, suggesting that Avery is likely an employee and not a customer. Avery, being a black man in 1955 Alabama, is used to this kind of treatment and immediately goes into like survival mode. Fedora dude is not hearing any of that, and he pulls a 38 on him. Now Avery changes his tone and warns him to back off. Indignant, the racist fires his gun, and Avery is forced to show him his powers. There's a reference to something called the variance that has to do with Avery getting his powers. And they flash back to his days in World War II when he was shot down in combat, suggesting that had something to do with it. And even though very little is revealed, as is often the case in first issues of comics, I still like to see more because the writing seemed pretty accurate for the time. And I love those period pieces as it is anyway. And the art is pretty good. And I know some folks are just turned off by anything that discusses the issue of race or that points out racism. But it's a real thing, unfortunately. Sure, it may make you uncomfortable to discuss, but that's nothing compared to the effect that it has on the people who are targeted by racism. And we're targeted 24 hours a day. And we don't have the option to not see color. So I get it if it's not for you, that's great. But I would definitely be reading more of Dark Blood. I think it's well drawn, intelligently written, and I look forward to issue number 2. Next book is called Siphon, and it is on Image under the under the Top Cow imprint. Top Cow Productions imprint. It's written by Patrick Meany and Mohsen Ashraf, and artist by Jeff Edwards. So there's this EMT named Silas, and Silas has been given this power to heal people, to siphon their pain away. It looks like not just physical pain, but emotional pain as well. He's given this power by a woman named Catherine, who was murdered by her mentor in the beginning of the book for using her power on a person that the murderer deemed unworthy. With her dying breath, Catherine sought out someone who she believed should have the power, someone worthy, and she found Silas. And she also put a target on Silas's back, since now that the mentor also knows that Silas wields that power, and he needs to control him as well. And the power turns out to be quite a burden for Silas to carry, especially since in his line of work he runs into way more than his share of pain. It starts to take its toll on his personal life, his relationship with his new girlfriend, and his mental health. The concept of siphon is pretty interesting, and making the lead character an EMT works out great in the story. Things seem to happen pretty fast in the first issue in comparison to what happens in most first issues in comics. I feel like I went through Silas's relationship in just like a few panels, from first time that they meet to dating, to seeing other people. It's just like a whirlwind right in front of my eyes. Jeff Edwards' art just steals it for me, and he's also the cover artist. He also included some more work of his in the back of the book as well. That's really good stuff. Is it worth a second issue? Maybe. A definite maybe, actually. There's a lot of good comics out there, so for me to sub to a comic, it's got to be exceptional now. I don't know. I would say that about Siphon. I wouldn't say if it was exceptional or not, but it's definitely not bad. Next is Beyond the Breach. This is from Aftershock, and it's written by Ed Brisson and art by Damian Cusiero. Excuse me. The story starts with a woman named Vanessa who's taking a mental health break by taking a trip to the West Coast. And she just lost her mom to cancer, and her asshole boyfriend just banged her sister. So she decides to fly to California, rent a car, and travel up the coast to Seattle, all on the boyfriend's expense. So on the way up there, she's just MFing them all the way through the forest. And all of a sudden, there's like this big breach, or a breach in the dimensions of her, if you will. And cars and people are just thrown everywhere. Additionally, all these strange looking beings just start attacking and just killing people. So after being thrown from her car, Vanessa helps save a kid who was trapped in a car after his parents have been killed by those monsters. At the same time, she snatches up this cute little teddy bear-like creature who came across with him, who seems like not to mind hanging out with her and the kid. They managed to find a temporary hiding spot, but then, of course, crazy stuff starts to happen. What I like about this book is that it starts off in a way with a lot of humor. I like Vanessa's tirade against her boyfriend. It's the kind of revenge that most of us just dream about. I also like the way the story moves along. It's after I mentioned before, as I have mentioned before, I hate overly wordy stories. I love books that move along at a brisk pace and to stop occasionally to just have some necessary dialogue to catch up the story and just resume the pace. And that's what this book does. Is it worth a second issue? Another maybe. Pretty definite maybe, actually. And based on the last panel, I would definitely say yes. So after that, then we'll see. Last book of the night is Mother of Madness. And this is from Image, and it is co-written by Amelia Clark. Man, this is tough. I could rip on and on about celebrities that write or co-write comics that rarely works. I want to say I can't think of any cases where it's been a great thing. Patton Oswalt has written some stuff. He's done okay on that, but a lot of people may not even be aware of that. There's been small indie projects. The guy from Black Eyed Peas, he co-wrote that Werewolf by Night series that nobody read. And I guess Keanu Reeves is he really writing that book though, or is he just like it's just a licensing project where he's just lending his image to Boom Studios, and they're just making this little series and using his name. Who knows? But it's okay. But this, that's unfortunate because I have no problem with the material. I have no problem with the message she's sending. But it's just that it was really hard for me to follow the story because there was so much on the page. I think it suffered from editing or lack of editing. At least that's my feeling. Maybe they could have just left some more stuff out, and they kept jumping back and forth, which is a delicate thing to use anyway, especially in comics. That whole back and forth timeline thing from the past to the future and back again, and if it's already confusing, it's going to make it even more confusing. And there was really no need for it to be set in the future because all the things that are happening in that book are happening now. This is this huge sexism and what have you right now. There are people trying to keep us in that era. So I guess maybe she's saying that, you know, unchecked, this will turn into what they describe in the book in the year 2049. That's entirely possible if we're still around. You know, if the climate change hasn't destroyed all that anyway, that's another story. But that's another thing that just made it more complicated. And there's like so many bad puns. It's just like, it's so cringeworthy. It's like an episode of Ally McBeal or something, you know? And I don't want to trivialize it because it's way more important than that. You know, this is, it has value in this. I mean, I'm sure there are women who identify with the lead character and who have run into the same kind of discrimination and treatment in their lives. So I don't want to trivialize that at all, but it just could have been, I don't know, I don't know who's to blame for this, but I hope that the next issue is better. It's only a 3-issue series. The art is okay. It wasn't great, but it's not what the problem is. It's not the art. You know, and I know that since she's behind this is a great driving force. And I wonder how much she let them tell her no, as far as, you know, this might not work or that might not work, or she just saying this, pushing it through. This is my baby. This is the way I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it that way. You know, once again, the heart being in the right place and all that. And these are all valid complaints about the patriarchy. Absolutely, I totally get it. But you know, but I don't know if it was. I definitely know it was not. I just pulled off the way I hoped it would have been. It was just, you know, it was a $6 book, $5.99. They give you plenty of book for your money, but they could have given me the same amount of book with a little bit clearer roadmap or a little bit less of trying to put too much off into one issue. Could have stretched out to maybe 4 or 5. You know, that was the issue. That was a problem. But man, I just cannot. And you know, I'm going to get the next issue. Hope for the best, and not expect too much. But man, let me know in the feedback in the comments down below if you guys feel anything like I'm feeling. Am I alone in this feeling? I know there's some people that's going to hate her just based on the fact of what she stands for. But you know, that aside. How did the book do? If you read the book, what you think of it? So yeah, and on that somewhat negative note, that's all for this Indie Comics review. So next week I'll be back with more books. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my haul video from the local comic shops. So be sure to check that out. So until next time, sure hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you know when I make another video. So till next time, guys, see you in the funny paper. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.